as he shoots the moon to the
pass, pumps to the left, 8 seconds left. He gets away from the pressure, fires to the end zone. It's caught! It's Greg Lewis! Oh my heavens! Greg Lewis's first catch has given the Minnesota. Ball's out, picked up by the Vikings. Johnson getting ready to throw for the race. Lincoln Johnson, no flags, touchdown Minnesota.
Four, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of House Calls with Scoreboard, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. Joining me, as always, is Dave. Dave, are you ready for game day?
Oh, yeah, and I wish I was there. I haven't been back to Nashville. I lived there for 12 years, and shout out to the Nashville Norsemen fan club at Will Hagen's, a landmark there in Nashville, where I used to go watch Vikings games. It's the best fan club I've ever been to. If you're gonna be at the game, make sure you look for them. It's the Nashville Norsemen. They're epic. They've had the Wilfs come out to visit them, out in tailgate before games the last time they were in Nashville. So it's a pretty awesome fan club, and I expect Purple. I've already heard reports that Purple's taken over, over the whole area there. So it's pretty awesome. Great place to watch a game.
Absolutely. I've never been to Nashville, but you hear from everybody that it's a great city to visit. Excellent barbecue, excellent bar scene, live music everywhere. I heard the stadium's nothing to it's not held in high regard.
It's a cookie cutter 90s stadium,
right?
And the visiting team usually takes over,
right? And that's why, because it's such a fun place to visit. But I agree with you. I think that it's going to be very purple there. One thing to remember is that the Vikings fan base travels very well, but I think that in terms of being spread out geographically across the nation, I think the Vikings are pretty well represented across the nation. I think a good portion of this fan base actually exists outside of the confines of Minnesota. And a lot of that has to do, thank you to Randy Moss. That's how I became a fan in Illinois, and saw a lot of people became fans. That's why we have so many of these kids running around, in Illinois or Wisconsin who are Mahomes fans, right? They're little Chiefs fans running around our neck of the woods because of superstar talent, and they fall in love with that player, and then they grow up rooting for that team. So I think there's probably quite a big contingent in that Nashville area of Vikings fans who are excited to go to a quote unquote home game for them and root on the purple.
Yeah, I've made this comments before, and I tell people all the time that I talk to, and I meet a lot of New Yorkers and stuff like that down here, and it started with having the Purple People Eaters and Fran Tarkington, and him going to New York, and coming back to the Vikings, going to 3 Super Bowls himself. But the Purple People Eaters, people like the Vikings. If they didn't have a team, it was the Vikings were the exciting team back in the 70s. So first team to 4 Super Bowls, unfortunately the first team to lose 4 Super Bowls. But then, a new generation, like you said, Randy Moss, 20 years in the making. Randy Moss was the big deal. And then now, Adrian Peterson brought in another group, not as big as Randy Moss, but now Justin Jefferson is a phenomenon.
So the Vikings always have that superstar that draws in fans. And when you look at other fan bases like Chicago, who's their star talent? You know what I mean? Like, they haven't had that star talent
since Walter Payton,
right, to draw in the fans. And that's just something that our fan base has always had. And it keeps attracting more and more people to the purple. And it's really fun to see that, we watch these Florida games, LA games, games in Nashville, and the purple are taking over. The Minneapolis, St. Paul, that is not a huge market, right? It's not the biggest city when you look at all these other cities that have teams like these California teams or like Chicago, New York. So it's probably mid-sized market, but you
Yeah, it's
wouldn't
like whenever I look, it's usually like 15th, right around 15th as
right.
far as TV market.
Right, and you wouldn't expect a team like that to travel as well as what the Vikings fans do. So give ourselves a pat on the back for that. And looking across the border, they travel really damn well too.
Yeah, I went to a Chicago Tennessee game when I was in Nashville, and it was back when like Peanut Tillman and shit, and they almost scored 4 defensive touchdowns that game. It was ridiculous. It was one of the biggest trouncing I've ever seen. And one of the most dominant defensive games I ever seen. They almost returned a kickback for a touchdown. They had 2 defensive touchdowns, and I don't know. I think they had at least 4, where it was either special teams or defensive touchdowns. They only got 2 in, but 2 got really close. They almost had 4 defense and special team touchdowns. It was insane. And yeah, Chicago just filled the entire, it was only about a 3/4 full, but it was mostly Chicago Bears fans.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 2-7 Titans team playing a 7-2 Vikings team today. I would expect it to be pretty similar. I think it's going to be
And
80%
Nashville's a
purple.
destination. I called it the Mecca of the Midwest. Everybody always wanted to go visit Nashville, and just Indiana. All these
Yeah,
states just flock down to Nashville, and in fact come up. It's the bachelorette capital of the
yeah.
world. We called it. Everybody from around the area, bachelorette parties just flock to that place. It's just a great place.
For sure. So let's jump into breaking this game down. Let's start with the Minnesota Vikings offense going up against the Tennessee Titans defense. What are you excited for in this matchup? What are you most confident in with the Vikings offense going up against the Titans defense?
Most confident our tight ends.
Hell yeah.
Our tight ends are killing it right now. So let's keep that shit up. Hopefully we do that a little more in the red zone instead of. Now I made this comment. I don't know who posted, but I commented. Oh, it was Purple Persuasion, and I was like, one of the things that we need to stop doing is trying to throw a touchdown from the 20-yard line. Let's get closer.
Yeah.
Let's hit a player running. We talked about this. Hit a player short and let them run for yardage, right? I check down. People hate check downs, but no, they catch it and you get more yard. You can still run with the ball, and you got a guy like Aaron Jones. You got these tight ends. Hit them short of the sticks and let them run. We tried that with Justin, and he got, it was a pick because of the tip ball and stuff like that. Not everything has to be a slant. I mean, but we did try. I give us credit because we begged for more slants, but we got beat on that one. But yeah, hit them short. Let them run for the ball when you get down there. Get it within the 10 before you start chucking in the end zone and stuff. Unless the guy's free wide ass open, or you're hitting them back pylon. But what's been happening has been terrible when we get down there is we're just throwing it to the other team, or we're throwing it late. One of the things was Jalen Naylor not running a crisp route, and ball getting thrown short because he doesn't flatten his route. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we could do better in the red zone, and I think the question is who you excited about. The tight ends have just been tight ends have been playing great ball the last 2 games.
Yeah, Hawkinson had such a great ball game last week for only playing 48% of the snaps. So I'm excited to see him get more involved. He certainly looked fresh, ready to go. He looked at full speed.
Took some hits.
Yeah, so I'm ready to see him just continue to get unleashed and be a red zone force. You got to believe that Kevin O'Connell really looked at the red zone packages and spent a lot of time on that for this week to help shore that up and fix that, make the test a little bit easier for Sam Darnold and put him in some situations where he's going to be less risk adverse and throw less interceptions in the red zone. So I'm just excited to see how they respond. When you look at the last 2 games that they've played against the Colts and against the Jaguars, they were both beat down by the Minnesota Vikings. Their offense played well in
Yep.
both games. The score did not show that. Okay.
Dominated, but everything but the scoreboard.
And that's frustrating, but the process is there. So if they just stay at it, these unlucky things that are happening, they're going to bounce the Vikings' way. So I do think that the Vikings are going to correct that against this defense, which does rank somehow number 1 in the NFL in terms of yards and passing
by
yards.
a ways too, by 300 almost 300 yards, 1543 yards. Next closest was 1824 with the Dolphins.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I just listened to Matthew Collar's most recent podcast. He had one of his buddies who was on the beat with the Tennessee Titans. He was talking with him, and this guy was kind of giving a lot of the reasons for that number. He said it's such a fallacy. It's incredible. He said they're much closer to, like a middle of the pack defense than they are to anything close to a top defense. And he said they struggle pressuring the quarterback. They struggle forcing turnovers. He says a lot of that yardage and that you're seeing is secondary to, number 1, having the worst special teams unit in the NFL. The Lions scored multiple special teams touchdowns on them, driving up the score. Hardly had to throw the ball against them. So, and number 2 is they haven't really played anybody worth a damn outside of the Lions and somebody else who kicked their ass. It's escaping my mind right now. So these teams haven't really had to throw the ball a ton against this team because they've just beat them with the run game mostly. Oh yeah, they were winning in Chicago week 1, up 17-0, and then Chicago blocked a punt for a touchdown and ended up winning that game with a Will Levis turnover, pick 6 that he had. So things like that elevate the score against the Titans. That's why their points allowed is much higher than their yards allowed. But the beat member made sure to say, like, take Vikings, take the 6 points. He expects the Vikings to win big.
Is he now excommunicated? I don't think there's a big Titans beat writer media presence, but I don't know if he'll be ostracized for that because there's nobody there to talk about it. Titans are not the biggest show in town. It's Tennessee Vols. Everybody. In fact, when I was in Nashville, more people were probably Colts fans because of Peyton Manning than they were Titans fans. It was pretty hilarious.
Or Predator fans is hockey.
Well, and now back then it was pretty fledgling, and when I was leaving, it started to get really good. Mm-hmm. But now it's a big time show there. Predator people love the Predators there.
So the Titans, from this guy's account, the fans are just sick of the ownership there. Apparently, those owners are just not good owners, and they used to be a team that would make fun of the Colts post Peyton Manning era and just crap on the Colts for being bad, and they were happy to kind of be that team in the middle that kept winning the division despite winning like 8, 9, 10 games type of thing. But that's a lost team right now. They don't have any talent. They've shipped out AJ Brown, they shipped out Derrick Henry, and they are in desperate need for some talent infusion on that team.
And you know what? I only had it on passing, so that was just passing yards. But rushing, let's see here. Where are they at rushing? We're leading the league in rushing yards, giving up rushing yards. So we use 711, and that's the least in the league.
Right.
Where are you at, Titans? Titans are about 1,052. They're about 12th, 13th in the league. So they give up the fewest passing yards. They give up the second fewest per attempt on passing, and yards per carry. They give up 4.3, which is around 10th, it looks like, but we're 3.8, which is 4th. So comparatively, statistically, like you said, that guy says it's a paper tiger, but it's some good stats for this Titans defense. So, but hey, we've moved the ball on what we expected. Good running defenses. We've ran the ball on supposedly good running defenses.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think our offense is defense proof. I think it can move the ball either way. I don't think maybe they won't be as dominant from one team to the next, but I don't see a team that's really hurt us except for maybe the Jets.
Yeah.
But I don't think any other teams really shut us down.
So I want to look at who the Titans have played. We talked about them playing a rookie, Caleb Williams, in Chicago week 1. And so defense played pretty well against the rookie week 1 in the NFL. They then played the Jets the following week and had the Jets score 24 at them in Nashville. The week after that, let's see here. The Titans.
There might have been defensive scores in some of these games, though.
Titans gave up 30 to the Packers, and that was with I think that was with Malik Willis that played them and put up 30.
Yeah, Malik Willis tore him up.
And that's in Nashville that they got beat. So that was a really bad effort by the Titans. They then played Snoop Huntley with the Miami Dolphins in Miami and won 31-12 against Snoop Huntley. So that's another game. It's like
that's a household name. That's a household name right there.
How much stock do you want to put in
Snoop Huntley.
Stopping Snoop Huntley? Yeah. They then played the Colts and gave up 20 points to the Colts with Anthony Richardson at that time. They then lost 34-10 to the Bills. So whenever they played a good team, they just got waxed.
Which is kind of crazy because, again, their defensive yardage isn't giving up a whole lot. But look at those short fields.
Let's look at this game. So Detroit beat them 52-14 in Nashville. And let's see. The Lions only had 61 passing yards in that game that they won 52-14. So there's your skewed data right there, right? That's a huge reason that this defense is a paper tiger. So
yeah, I mean, you're giving up points in a lot of those games, but just not a lot. Yards aren't adding up.
And then they played a rookie, Drake May, against the Patriots, who put up 17 against them in Nashville. So I have faith that the Vikings are going to be able to score some points on this defense. And then the Chargers just scored 27 against them in LA.
And the Titans have only on defense, they've only forced 3 interceptions and 5 fumbles. So they've only done 8, which puts them nearer at the bottom of turnovers in the league.
Right. And well, that was the same story with the Jaguars last week too, but we found a way to give them the ball 3 times. So still on the Vikings to keep those turnover numbers down, but I agree with you that this defense does not look as scary as what the numbers will tell you. And I think there's opportunities there for the Vikings. Now, the one thing that concerns me, obviously, is that guy in the middle, Jeffrey Simmons. He's a goddamn beast. He's huge. He's unblockable. You're going to have to get multiple hands on him. You're going to have Garrett Bradbury and Ed Ingram helping. Okay, if he's on one-on-one with Ed, we have problems. Okay, the other guy, Tavondre Sweat, the guy they drafted in the 2nd round, he's like 400 pounds, huge guy. Together, Simmons and Sweat are going to clog up that middle. We're not going to have much success running up the middle. We're just not. So everything's going to be funneled to the outside. That's why Aaron Jones could have a little bit of a slower day on the ground. I would expect him to have a better day through the air. But that defensive line is big. So if we can stop the pressure from up the middle, I think we're going to be okay.
And one other thing is the Vikings have caused 21 turnovers, which is insane.
Yeah, leads the NFL, I believe.
Yeah.
Leads the NFL in interceptions as well.
Yeah, next is Lions with 13. We got 15.
The Vikings were leading the NFL in pressures and sacks. I'm not sure if that still holds.
Yeah, this one's not that detailed.
But yeah, defense is very healthy right now. Everybody's playing. We got Cashman. We got Ivan Pace. So we're at full strength here.
Yeah, full practice. Again, Gilmore and Smith don't have to practice. They're just
rest days. So. Every Friday we're going to see that.
Well, yeah. Yeah, these guys just rest. They just prop him out there. Okay, go. That's great.
Anything else about the offense that you want to talk about before we switch gears here and look at Vikings defense?
I definitely want to see Jordan Addison, just get the ball more, man.
Great point.
I don't like this. Let's just like early on. Let's just throw it out on just a quick screen to Justin or quick screen to Addison just to get him involved. Well, get him involved in a regular play. I don't.
He's open. He's open on the other plays. Just look at him.
Just be open. Just throw it to that open guy.
Kevin O'Connell mentioned, I forget what play he was referencing, but he was talking about how on one of the interceptions, on the backside of the play, he said Addison had one-on-one, he was open. Like, these are the things I want to talk to Sam about and be like, okay, well, when we see this look, let's just look at Addison. We don't have to start out looking at Justin Jefferson if he's going to be double covered. If you have single coverage, go look over there. You know what I mean? Start over there. So hopefully those words reverberate with Sam and he can look at Addison and trust him as a 1B to Justin Jefferson's 1A, because Jordan Addison could be a number one wide receiver on another team. We are vastly underutilizing Jordan Addison so far this year.
Jeez.
And
Totally.
There's room for both. Like Justin Jefferson can still be a superstar and finish with 70.
Make them pay. Make them stop triple covering.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson.
He's opening up so much on the defense for you in terms of lanes and whatnot, because the defense is playing and shadowing and shifting all this coverage towards Justin. Use that. Why are you feeding into what the defense is trying to, take from you, take from them what they're trying to give you? So we are in lockstep on that. Jordan Addison is due for a big game. I just don't know when it's coming. Wouldn't be surprised if it's today, though.
He's pretty good on the road, so it's not like he needs to be at home to do it. So,
well, let's look at the other side of the ball. I'm really excited for this Vikings defense to go up against this Tennessee Titans offense, and it's all because of Will Levis. He has graded so far this year the worst quarterback in the NFL against pressure, the worst quarterback in the NFL against the blitz. And I believe he has the highest turnover play rate, or higher rate of turnover worthy plays. So he's gonna, if you pressure him like we're capable of pressuring him, he's gonna give us the football. I think this is a really high chance that the Vikings score a defensive touchdown today.
Yeah, and we talked this off air. I was going to say the same thing today. This is a game where we're very, very good chance we score defensively. Will Levis is a guy that we could feast off of turnover wise. We're leading league in turnovers. This is a perfect quarterback to go against in that situation. We were hopefully going against Indy, we're going to be excited about turnovers with Richardson. He didn't play, but we still turned the ball over. This is a guy prone to gas, prone to interception, prone to fucking balls, misreads. He gives the ball up to the other team. I think he holds the ball quite a bit, right? He's susceptible to getting strip sacked, and just early. I saw a little more of him early on. I was paying attention to him, and that was his problem. He was on his ass a lot, and losing the ball. And I think it's a perfect matchup in that sense, is that we're going to get some turnovers in this game. We're going to win the turnover battle in this game, and so much so that Sam has some leeway there, and hopefully he realizes, you know what, just don't turn the ball over, and we're going to be good. We're going to be good because we're going to get the defense is going to give us the ball a lot. And coming off a game where we had 81 plays, man, we now know we can do that. It's over 70 twice back-to-back weeks because the defense keeps giving us the ball.
Yep. And to Kevin O'Connell's and the coaching staff's credit, they've really sped up the offense, and they've gotten out of the huddle faster, to the line, like we've been asking them to do.
Yeah,
So. And they've
they've
just increased the
gradually gotten
tempo.
better and better at that.
Yeah,
And I
the
said
tempo
last
has gone
week,
up.
one of my predictions is that we were going to have long drives.
Yeah.
We did have long drives. We didn't put it in the end zone.
And that's going to happen when the other team plays too high safety against you the entire game. It's hard to throw the ball down the field against those looks. So you're going to have to go down the field like that. But that's fine. Hey, if they end up with 400 yards of offense and all these 10-play drives, because that's what the defense is giving them, that's what we're going to take, right? Now, looking at the Titans' best 3 offensive players, they have Calvin Ridley, who can beat you deep. So that's going to be number 1 is don't let him go off on you. Don't give anything over the top to Calvin Ridley. Their next 2 best offensive players are both running backs, Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, both very fast guys. Not very big guys, but fast. One-cut type of players. We saw Tony Pollard beat us, was it a couple years ago against the Cowboys when they came and beat us down. I think that was after the emotional Bills win with the best catch that we've ever seen.
So bad. That was the worst game.
Terrible. I was putting together like one of those NFL Blitz arcade type games in my basement. It took me like 2 hours to do. I just did that during the entire second half. I was like, I'm not watching this stuff. I had it on in the background, but it was just, I think we scored like 3 points that game. Just it
was bad.
Terrible game.
That was the game Kirk Cousins did not throw a touchdown and broke his leading consecutive touchdown streak.
You're right. He was just pressured. There's no chance.
And
we
didn't have Darisaw that game, and
it's a concussion.
Randall was playing left tackle and getting his ass handed to him. After that, we learned to chip block.
Yeah.
We started chip blocking a lot more with our tight ends after that game.
But back to the Titans game, with their 2 of their best 3 offensive weapons being running backs, I mean, that's the strength of our defense so far is shutting down the run game. So if we can limit those
crazy.
Guys, yeah.
We haven't had that.
No, we really thought that was going to be a weakness coming into this season just by looking at our roster. We're like, okay, you got Harrison Phillips, Jonathan Bullard, ? Who else is stopping this run? And it's just been a defensive collective effort, honestly. I think Tillery's really stepped up and done a good job against the run when he's in there.
Well, and Pace knifing in there all the time.
Yeah.
That's been great.
And now Cashman as well.
Cashman's all over the place. And
100%. But yeah, I really think I would watch out for Andrew Van Ginkel, maybe getting an interception, maybe a pick 6 there. He just has a nose for the football. This is a quarterback who might throw him one on a quick screen and then Andrew just picks that off. I could see that happening again. Blake Cashman's always around the football. Maybe it's time for our old friend Harrison Smith to have a pick 6. But yeah, I just think
I am not calling for Harrison Smith to get a pick 6. He sees a play so
wouldn't rule it out. But I do think the Vikings defense could score.
I could see. I think Murphy Jr. he's gotten so much confidence, but I could see a Gilmore playing tight on a and jumping a route or something like that. I feel like a cornerback is going to make a play today.
I think I disagree with you on Gilmore, and I tell you why. I was just watching him, not only last game but these last several games. He plays off a lot. Kind of reminds me of Patrick Peterson, like how he played off so much when he was with the Vikings. And when they have these shorter routes with the cover 0 looks, he's not really jumping them. Have you noticed this?
Well, I'm just saying he could.
Yeah. The interception that he's had against the Jets game, which sealed the Jets game, it was one of those, kind of a go ball, and he was in the hip pocket. And he had perfect positioning and got it on his way to the ground. But to me, Gilmore, and I would even say Shaq Griffin, I think it's like the way they're coached, keep everything in front of you. I don't see them driving on any football.
You think it's more like coach not to jump a route?
Yeah.
Not to read it.
100%.
I could see that. Yeah, you convinced me, but hey, why not?
And we don't see like much cover 2 where they're just waiting on like a flat or something to take that for a pick 6.
But we got a quarterback out there that might float one out there.
For sure. And that's where I was thinking more of a safety kind of pick 6. Maybe it's your who's the Michigan guy? Metellus Bennett, Josh Metellus.
Yeah.
Or Harrison Smith, maybe Cam Bynum. But I think he throws at least 1 pick, if not probably 2 picks.
sure.
But other
There'll be
than that,
I feel like there'll be one where the ball we hit his arm because he's holding the ball and it gets flopped out there. We'll get one like that, and then he'll throw just a bad read. He'll at least get two like that.
and then the Titans literally have the worst special teams unit in the NFL. Maybe this is a Brandon Powell return touchdown type of game. Or maybe we pop a kickoff return.
It'd be nice to bust a return once, right? We haven't done that.
We don't even try. Most teams just kick it out of the end zone.
Well, I mean, even on punt returns, we haven't really got a big one, big one. And there was a punt return where I was like, "Why the hell did you fair catch that?"
Yeah.
Didn't you? You know what I'm talking about? There was one punt return. He's like hits the ball and like, why didn't I return that?
Yeah, I would guess that it's the way that they're coached, like the way that our gunners are lined up. It just doesn't look like it's, actually trying for a return. I don't know. What do I know about that? But I'm just happy to catch the damn football, man.
Oh yeah, there was 2 years ago that was
or the damn Packers game with Jalen Naylor giving the Packers a free touchdown.
Well,
there.
That too. Yeah, we don't have a backup punt returner.
Yeah. Anything else? Our defense against their offense. I'm just really excited about that matchup. I think we're going to dominate it.
Yeah, I mean, there's talk about how we don't get a pass rush with our defensive line, but honestly, maybe that's the deal. That's why we're good against the run right now. This is maybe not a thing that we're trying to do with our defensive line. So when people are down on us about one aspect of our game, it's like, maybe that's the fucking game plan. We're getting the pressure from our linebackers. Maybe that's what we're doing. That's how we're doing it. It doesn't necessarily, and that's because of personnel probably. Maybe we don't have a guy who can do it. We don't think we do either as fans. So, and that was why we thought we needed a disruptor defensive tackle in there. And so, yeah, I think everything Flores does is with a purpose. If we are so blatantly bad at one thing, it's probably part of the game plan for him because we're so strong in some other area. That may not make sense to people, but when looking the way Flores plays, like last year, he played a lot of zone, a ton of zone. Now he's playing a little more man this year, and it's because of personnel. I mean, you thought Flores was going to come in here and we're going to play man all the time when he got in here. He's going to go after the quarterback, and then he drops more eight players more than anybody in the league, and you're like, what? Is this what we got from Flores? And he does it because of his personnel. And then they asked, one of the things they said, and I brought this up a lot over the years, is where we have 4-3 or a 3-4, and he says, who are we playing?
Right.
So he is game by game strategizing on how to use his players. And if we're bad at something, it's because we're really, really good at something else.
100%. I agree. Let's do our pick six, and then we'll pick the game. And then after we pick the game, I'll talk about J.J. McCarthy's second procedure. I wanted to get that on tape because we haven't talked about that yet.
Okay, Justin Jefferson badly went the under this last game. What do you expect from him in this game?
Total rebound. I think it's hard to keep him down. He usually hits the over. I would expect him to hit the over, probably getting 100 yards this game.
Yeah, we both think our offense is going to keep on chugging, except no turnovers this time. And he'll hit the over. It dropped 10 points, so he's hitting over this one. We missed it last week. Aaron Jones, I think he's going over just because I think he has momentum, and he is coming off that rib, or getting hit in the side, so who knows? But 63 is pretty low for him. I'm going with the over. What makes you think under?
Yeah, I struggled with this one because I agree with you that 63 feels kind of low for him. the 2 points that I thought about were, number one, you brought up the injury. His ribs are kind of sore. So I thought that we could see a little bit more Cam Akers spelling him, maybe every other drive type of thing. Number two, I talked about those big guys in the middle of their defense. It's going to be really hard to run against them up the middle. So I expect most of that yardage to come on stretch plays, C gap, or outside run type of thing. So, and then I also thought that this is probably a game where Aaron Jones hurts them more evenly through the air versus on the ground as well. Gets a screen here or there, just get some balls out of the backfield. So, and then also I just need to start picking opposite of you sometimes because I need to catch up.
Well, you caught up. You caught one last week.
Yeah.
And anybody who gave me shit about me saying about how Cam Akers will probably end up being our number 2 running back.
Yeah.
All right. He's our number 2 running back. It's pretty clear that. Pretty clear he's our number 2 running back right now.
Yeah. I was surprised Ty Chandler even got a carry in that game, but he did.
And shout out to him. He did come in and look all right. So that was great.
I think they'll lean on him in a couple instances where they know that they're not going to need him for pass protection. You damn near know he's going to get the ball.
And that's why I said Cam would take over as number 2. Jordan Addison. Oh, I still went with the 0.5 here. 31.5 is way too low.
Yeah.
Way too low. I'm going over on this. And
Yes,
you and I both are free 3 guys. Free 3. And you tell them what you said about what Kevin O'Connell was saying about Jordan Addison.
In regards to that play, I forget what interview he's talking about, but he had mentioned throughout the week that there was a play. It was one of the interceptions that was targeted towards Justin Jefferson, where he mentioned that Jordan Addison was on the weak side of that play and had one-on-one coverage, and he won his route and he was open. And so just trying to get that across to Sam of, hey, Justin Jefferson does not have to be the number 1 read in every single play. I mean, read the coverage. If you have a one-on-one with Addison, look there, throw it.
Yeah, if you see one-on-one, focus, look for that. Yeah.
And I think it's just a matter of time before he pops and has a big game.
I mean, what's he got? One touchdown?
Well, I mean, 1 receiving touchdown against the Packers. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And then he had a rushing touchdown against the Packers.
He had 6 until Kirk got hurt last year.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
Let's use him.
And
you know what? No, he had that unbelievable catch in the back right of the end zone against one
that's
team.
2.
Yeah.
Because he had one against the Packers, right?
Yeah, he beat was it Jair Alexander over the top in the double move, I think.
Was it Jair? No, Jair was hurt. He was out
there. Oh, that's right. He was out. You're right.
He did that the first time.
Must have been that Valentine guy or whatever.
So shout out to TJ Hawkinson. He looked full go. He looked like TJ Hawkinson of old. Before the injury. And he was battling out there. He was taking hits. He finally felt like what a full game was like coming back, and I think he's going to build off of this. And he's been sure-handed, and not like last year early in the season. He was dropping balls. He's been sure-handed, looking good out there, fighting for everything. I got the over of 44.5 this week.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, considering what he did last week on 48% of snaps was ridiculous. He's only going to play more and more going forward. And to me,
that's still like 40 snaps.
Yeah.
Like we had 81.
Yeah. I think his over-under should be closer to the 50-60 range. So I'm going to keep hitting the over as long as they keep it in the 40s.
Yeah, definitely. Will Levis. I am purely basing on how we've kicked the quarterback's ass the last 2 weeks that we're going to go under on Will Levis. Like, it won't matter if we're way ahead. Even if they try to throw it, we're going to be dominating this guy so bad that he can't hit 183. What makes you think he's going to go over? Is it just a low number or what?
It's a low number.
All right. It never fails that we freeze once a show because the internet in Chicago sucks. We'll get Skoldak back in here to finish this up. One of the things we talked about Will Levis 183. I'm going under just because I feel like how dominant we're going to be against this offense. Just confusing the shit out of Will Levis, and you know picks and turnovers and fumbles. I just feel big time on that. Sam next was Sam Darnold, 239 and a half. Both of us took the over because we expect both our top receivers to go over. We expect our tight end to go over. We're still pretty bullish on Josh Oliver, so expecting him to go over. That's a big deal. Now right now Doc is at 17 and 9. I'm 20 and 16. I'm on the pick 6 game we've been playing each week. Last week I was my first, I think, negative. I was 2 and 4. He was 3 and 3. He picked the Aaron Jones. I forget which one. He got one over on me last week. We're gonna pick who we think's gonna be the winners. Bringing Skull Doc back. Let's see here. Here we go. I just did Sam Darnold. Do you want to comment on why you think? I said because we're picking the receiver to go over, the tight end to go over, everybody to go over, and Sam's going to eat today, even though he was the slightly under last week.
Yeah, I'd say, like you just said, we picked all the overs. It just made sense that we would stay consistent and pick the over for Sam. Again, going back to what I was saying about this defense not being as strong as what the numbers say, and the Vikings have put up, 400 yards of offense the last 2 weeks, despite not having the points to back it up, but they've been throwing the hell out of the football successfully against these two other poor teams in the Jaguars and the Colts. So I'm going to see that continuing.
And I just told everybody how you're sneaking back up on me. I had my first negative last week. So catching up. You wanted to pick the game. You go first this time. Okay,
so I'm expecting a blowout. I'm going to take the Vikings and the points, and I'm going to say the Vikings do score either a special teams or a defensive touchdown for this game. I'm going to say that the Vikings are going to keep the Titans out of the end zone completely. The Titans will have 6 points all game, 2 field goals. And I'm going to pick the Vikings 28-6.
That's pretty good, man. While you were saying this, I was going to say 27-10. I like yours because it's going to be very hard for them to score, but maybe something happens. We gave up a touchdown last week early on. They might catch us off guard, whatever. But I'm saying 27-10. We're pretty close, though. That's pretty close. Yeah, picking blowouts again. That never goes well. That never goes well for me. So hopefully this one pans out. And I do think it's we're just dominating the whole game. These past 2 games, we just got to put it in the end zone. Maybe we're still struggling scoring touchdowns, that we're having to kick a couple field goals here. So that's 2 field goals and 3 touchdowns. I feel like that's completely fine. But it may be even bigger because we're going to cause turnovers and get short fields. We may be able to capitalize it, and that'd be a big test for us to show us that we're the real deal. Still, is that, hey, let's capitalize it. And I know people were doom and gloom for the fact the way we played. I remember one guy saying this is the worst half of football I've ever seen. He's talking about Indy, and I'm like, did you see the Cowboys game?
Right.
And 2 years ago, it was horrible. That is the worst half of football I've ever seen. Or the Indianapolis Colts game, the first half.
Yeah, literally.
The previous time we played the Indianapolis Colts was the worst I've ever seen. Those 2 really bad games. So, yeah, the reason why I was not doing gloom is because of how much, if you look at the games, is we've been dominating, just not on the scoreboard. But I'm still a little tentative. That's why I'm only saying 27 points. This team is more than capable, with the amount of plays that they're playing now, to get up in the 30s pretty regularly. And I want to see that happen. I want to see momentum going into the end of the season here.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Big game happening in the division tomorrow. Packers at Bears. The Packers are 5.5-point favorites there. How do you see that
Could be.
game playing out? You just think the Packers are going to dominate the Bears?
Well, I don't know. How healthy is Jordan Love?
That's a great question. I don't know. Bears.
And how big a difference do you think? It's always like we were talking about, like, getting a new coach, new play caller, how much difference that'd be. But apparently, Caleb Williams, just I seen on a graph, is historically, is an outlier in the bad direction for taking sacks or getting hits or pressures. Like he is. I guess he's holding the ball too long. He's just, it's not looking good. And you could see a Packers team laying the wood to a Bears team right now. It's just, who knows what a guy can come up with in a week. It always seems like you get the new coach, you turn things around somehow, but I don't think that's the Bears. I think that's the Bears. I think that, the Packers should handle them pretty easy.
I agree with you. I'm thinking the Packers are going to win pretty easily there. What I will say, though, it's a win-win for the Vikings either way, because if the Bears do surprise and beat the Packers, well, there you go. Now we're a game up ahead of the Packers, and you're not really too worried about them going into that playoff race there, being a few games up on them and them having a loss to the Bears. But if the Bears do lose and now they're really dejected, we're going to play them next week at Soldier Field.
You're talking about replacing coach, head coach. And
you're talking about maybe getting their coach fired, although I would say we hope that Eberflus stays the coach.
Please keep him. Please keep him.
So I see it as a win either way for the Vikings. Like, if we going into this, 3-game road stretch that we had against the Jaguars, the Tennessee Titans, and then the Chicago Bears, we always kind of thought that Chicago game was probably the one that would trip us up the most. Like we had the most chance of losing just with it's a divisional game.
And early on, they looked good.
Yeah.
At least decent. Competitive.
But now if they lose that and they're on a 5-game losing streak at that point, they just lost at home to the Packers. Now they have to play the Vikings defense. Like you just talked about, Caleb Williams holding onto the ball. And
oh, shit.
This defense could just be a nightmare for him. So either way, I'll be happy. But I am just rooting for the Bears, though, tomorrow to beat the Packers. And it's always a good day when the Packers lose, the Vikings win.
I'm always going to root against the Packers. I've never really had a problem with the Bears.
I do.
I know you do. I mean, I've never had a problem. I always tell Bears fans that we got one thing in common. We both hate the Packers. But yeah, I've never really had any crazy animosity towards the Bears. I did last year, the last couple of years against the Lions, because the fans just don't know how to act when they finally have a decent team.
Yeah.
And the injuries and the dirty play and stuff like that. So now I got animosity over the Lions. I guess the animosity of the Bears is how much they were talking about, how they're going to take, their GM saying we're going to take over the North and never give it back, and we're still waiting. Still waiting.
Yeah, he's going to get fired before they ever take that.
Year three. It hasn't happened yet. And then I got NFL Outdated, who's a Bears fan who had me on it. It hasn't had me on your show yet this year, big guy. But I'm going to have you on my show, but hopefully before the Bears game. And we'll talk about that, big guy. NFL Outdated. Check him out. He's on Twitter. He's on YouTube.
So the issue with the Packer fans is obviously the border battle. Like they're always trying to little brother you, right? Because of their success with the Hall of Fame quarterbacks and their Super Bowl wins and everything, whatever. The Bears, though, they try to little brother you too, and they have no
reason to
basis to do it. Like they've won in '85. All the people that I know, my age, they weren't even alive the last time the Bears won the Super Bowl. Also, this team's been around for over 100 years. They've got one fucking Super Bowl. Like what? Are we really that happy about it? Like, especially one that you weren't even alive for? Like, honestly, It doesn't mean, they throw that back in my face of, oh, your team doesn't have a Super Bowl. I'm like, okay, well, even if the Vikings had 4 Super Bowls, if they won all those 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, that's pretty cool. Good for my franchise. But to me personally would mean a whole bunch because I didn't get to experience it. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to live and experience a Super Bowl. If I was a Bears fan, I feel like I wouldn't be that guy that throws, oh, we got that 85 and you guys don't have any. Come talk to me when you win one. I'm like, do you have anything else? I mean, the Vikings have won a shit ton more games than you guys since I've been alive. That's good enough for me. I'm having fun watching my team. Are you guys having fun watching the shit that they roll out at Soldier Field? Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah. And I can count that we also have a shitload more division titles for sure than them. And they haven't had a quarterback to over 4,000
They've been around for 100 years. They can't find a guy to throw for 4,000 yards?
Not one.
Sam Darnold's going to do it for us this year.
Yeah, which Wiz is about 1,500 more yards than he's ever thrown, which is crazy.
Crazy. All right.
Yeah, we've always had something, exciting about our team, and yet Bears haven't had that except for 85 was a pretty big phenomenon. I can attest to that. That whole team was, like everybody wrapped their arms around it. And they weren't too bad the next year either, but yeah, that's a long time ago, guys. That's a long time ago. Ditka, he went to the Saints and traded almost 2 drafts for Ricky Williams. So he's flawed.
Well, let's finish up the show by talking about J.J. McCarthy's knee. And I want to put everybody at ease, okay? Because there's been a lot of bullshit out there. There really has been. So,
talk me off the ledge, Skoldock.
So when all that came out, Seifert was the first one that posted something that said he had a second surgery, okay? And that got everybody in a tizzy. And I myself, I was confused because that's not normal, okay?
Yeah, that would be dumb.
That's not normal. And then you had people like Ben Gessling coming out saying, oh, no. It was a procedure and it was just an injection, a biologic injection, okay? Well, biologic injection is a vague way to say it was some form of injection to treat inflammation. There's different types of injections that are biologic, just meaning that it comes from living tissue. That's what biologic injection means. PRP, which is platelet-rich plasma injection. They take blood out of your arm. They spin it in a centrifuge. They separate the red blood cells and the plasma, which has white blood cells and platelets in it. The growth factors are in that plasma. They inject that PRP into the knee to decrease inflammation. So I'm like, okay, if that's all it was, no big deal, super common, happens all the time. Shit, Dave, when I do surgery on my patients, I tell them that swelling in or around the joint, keep in mind I'm talking about the ankle compared to the knee, but still lower extremity, so similar healing patterns there. I tell them to expect swelling for 6 months to a year after surgery before it looks and feels like the other side, okay? So when he's getting ramped up as a professional athlete with these maneuvers that they're having him do and there's some swelling in there, of course they're going to have him look into it because it's $1 billion industry. This is your top 10 quarterback. They're going to have him look at anything and make sure nothing's going wrong, okay? Particularly because they elected to repair his meniscus and not cut it out, okay? So what they ended up doing was they went back in there with a camera to look at it and make sure that it didn't re-tear or aggravate it in any way or that the stitch wasn't loose, okay? And what they found was that it was fine, all right? So that doesn't change the timeline. All he has to do is heal up a stab incision about that long where they put a small camera in the joint. So there's nothing to be worried about here, okay? The people who are saying, oh, well, Sharif Floyd had knee surgery and look how that turned out. I don't fucking care, okay?
It was a botch. Yeah.
It's a fucking botched surgery. It should never happen. It's not going to happen to J.J. McCarthy. Get over it. Declan Goff on Score North is like, oh, I have PTSD. You can't tell me that it's going to be fine. I'm telling you, it's fine. It's fine. Listen to me. I went to medical school.
I'm just numb to it. And when I hear something bad happen, I'm like, I put it behind me. I'm like,
yeah,
Whatever happens.
I'm just telling you guys how it is, okay? I've studied this. I went into a lot of debt studying this stuff. I know my shit. Like, you can trust me. It's fine. Don't worry. He's gonna come back. It's gonna be okay.
As long as it didn't say JJ McCarthy flies to Germany and has a procedure done, you don't have to worry. It seems like every time someone has to fly to Germany to get shit done, their career's over.
Well, McCaffrey just flew to Germany, came back.
I know,
played.
and he's back, so that's great.
Yeah. He probably got some amniotic injection out there that they only do in Germany or something like that. But I'm off my soapbox. Just want everybody to know JJ is going to be fine. The reason that they do the camera, the repeat surgery, if you will, to go in there and look at it is because it's obviously much better to go in there and look at it yourself than it is to try to look at an MRI image and see what's going on. It's going to be very hard to tell an MRI. So don't worry about it. He's going to be fine.
There you have it, folks. Because I do more and more. I'm at like 98% that JJ McCarthy's our starting week 1 quarterback next year.
Yeah, he should be. So this was interesting. This came up on the same caller episode I was talking about when he's talking to the Tennessee beat writer. The Tennessee beat writer thought that it was more likely that the Vikings franchise tag Sam Darnold and then pull off a trade for maybe a 2nd-round pick rather than letting him just walk in free agency. And I was like, I didn't think about that, the tag and trade option.
I know,
risky.
like, you know who brought that up? Like, the first person I saw that was Purple for the Win. Mm-hmm. And he brought that up like 4 or 5 weeks ago. And yeah, I mean, that's a thing that could happen. Is it, what if they don't pull the trade? It's almost like they got to talk about it before they put the tag on.
Right.
Because they got to be talking about before that, because you don't risk shit. And
yeah.
Kwesi doesn't hope shit happens. I know people bring this up like he hoped, like he offered Kirk a contract hoping he wouldn't take it. No, things like that. So he's not going to hope someone makes a trade after he franchises somebody. It's going to be done before.
Right. Well, just an option to keep track of, but I don't think that Sam Darnold will be back with the Vikings.
That would be phenomenal. Put his fucking, Hall of Fame GM shit up there. If he gets a now, keep in mind, him leaving also helps us. That would be third. That would be third round pick.
Likely, yeah, but it'll probably cancel out because we're going to be active in free agency.
Yeah,
so who knows?
It depends, but at least it'll can't,
It's nice that it goes towards the formula, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's an hour-long episode to get you ready for the game today against the Tennessee Titans. Let's go kick ass.
For sure. This is the blowout, guys. This is the blowout.
This is the blowout
versus the Texans.
Let's enjoy it.
Here it is. It's a guaranteed this week. Skull Flex.